So in the third part of the renal system lecture, we will discuss glomerular filtration. So we will look at greater detail at nephron and especially glomerulus. And we will end up with information how much of plasma is being filtered during a day. So here you see again the glomerular structure with the tubular system, the nephron, and we will be discussing now this filtration process here. So the formation of urine is practically starting with the filtration. And here you see the renal corpuscle, which consists of Bowman space that is then connected to the proximal convoluted tubule. And here you see the arterioles, afferent arteriole, that gives rise to the glomerular capillaries, and then efferent arteriole that continues to go to the peritubular system. So if you pay attention here, you see that in the blood, here are depicted small molecules like electrolytes and glucose, amino acids, and as green are depicted larger molecules. But in Bowman space, we have only the small molecules. So usually the larger molecules are not not appearing unless there are some disease conditions. So this picture, this renal corpuscle, you see also here. You see the glomerular network of capillaries, and you see clearly the Bowman space here. And around here, you see the folded tubules cut cross-sectionally. So the way how the blood is filtering, or plasma, how it's being filtered into Bowman's space, is following the principles of Starling law on capillary, which we see here. So again, here you have the glomerulus, you have the afferent arteriole with the single endothelial cells. So afferent arteriole, and arteriole differs from capillaries by having some smooth muscle, right? So then we have the capillaries. They do not have smooth muscle, just single layer of endothelial cells and possibly surrounded here by podocytes. And then outgoing vessel is again arteriole, which does have again smooth muscle. So smooth muscles are in afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole, but not in capillaries. So the filtration of plasma from capillaries into Bowman space is following the Starling law on capillary, where it's also hydrostatic pressure of the blood on the wall is an outwardly force, while oncotic pressure of proteins that hold water is an inwardly force, and the balance between them is net filtration pressure. So we can see it here. So we have the hydrostatic pressure of the blood in the capillary being the outwardly force, and then we have the oncotic pressure in the Bowman space that is also unwardly force. So these two forces, hydrostatic pressure in glomerular capillary and oncotic pressure in Bowman space, pull the fluid out, while what is opposing the filtration is hydrostatic pressure of the fluid in the Bowman space and the oncotic pressure of proteins in the capillary. So the net filtration pressure is a result of this outwardly forces, glomerular capillary pressure and oncotic pressure in Bowman space, minus hydrostatic pressure in Bowman space plus oncotic pressure in glomerular space. So this determines the filtration, and the fluid from the Bowman space in healthy condition is then continuing to flow into the proximal convoluted tubule and continues throughout the nephron. So what can affect actually the glomerular filtration rate? We said that in the afferent arteriole and efferent arteriole, we have smooth muscle. So if afferent arteriole is relaxed, more blood arrives to the capillary network. And if the efferent arteriole is constricted, less blood will outflow. So after afferent arterial dilation or efferent arterial constriction are going to increase the hydrostatic pressure in the glomerular network, and the glomerular filtration increases. So we have here efferent arterial constriction increases. And now we have the opposite situation where we bring less flow, less blood into glomerular network because the afferent arteriole is constricted, or there may be less blood staying because efferent arteriole is dilated. So these two conditions are going to result in lesser amount of blood in the glomerular network, and therefore there will be lesser pressure and lesser glomerular filtration. Also, we have here two conditions with regards to the proteins. If we have more plasma protein concentration, meaning that the oncotic pressure will be enhanced, then the net filtration pressure will be reduced. And you see it here, right? If you have the proteins to hold the fluid in the blood, in the capillaries, less will be going out. On the other hand, if plasma concentration is decreased, for example, in liver diseases, there will be less force to hold the fluid inside the capillaries, and glomerular filtration increases. The other two conditions that are not uncommon is constriction of ureter. So, for example, if the blood is, if the filtrate is to flow, and it flows through the nephron to papillary, but now ureter is somehow obstructed, the pressure in the tubular system increases, and so the hydrostatic pressure here will be enlarged, and therefore, again, the net filtration will be increased if the pressure in the Bowman system is increased. So you see that if the ureter is going to be obstructed, the glomerular filtration will be reduced. And another very common condition is dehydration. And so this is quite common. And if people are dehydrated, they have lesser blood volume in their vessels. and therefore less amount of blood comes also to kidneys and to the glomeruli, and therefore there will be decreased decreased glomerular filtration. So now we know that glomerular filtration in general is a result of forces, starting forces on capillaries, and that we can affect them by bringing more or less blood or by proteins. Nevertheless, if we are thinking about glomerular filtration, the rate of glomerular filtration in a healthy kidney is about 100 milliliters per minute. So if we have this per minute, I can ask you how much is per day, and you can stop the video and try to calculate how much filtrate is produced in 24 hours. And then you can think for a moment how much you urinate and whether these numbers match, and what actually happens if there is any discrepancy. So I hope you paused the video, but here are the answers. So we started here that a healthy kidney has glomerular filtration rate about 100 milliliters per minute. And 100 milliliters per minute means about 6 liters, 6,000 milliliters, so 6 liters for 1 hour. And in 24 hours, we filter about 144 liters per day. We urinate 1 to 2 liters typically. And the question is, what happens with the remaining 142, 43 liters? So all that water, all that fluid, including electrolytes and amino acids and glucose, they get absorbed back in the tubular parts of the nephrons. And we will talk about it in the next part.